Welcome to New Day, even this morning. My name is Godwin Sunday. Today we'll be talking about women in business, basically women in modeling business in Nigeria, and who's best to do have this conversation with me this morning is a journalist and also a model, but she doesn't like me calling her a journalist even on air. But I am calling her a journalist. After the show, we'll have to deal with the rest. This morning, I'm joined by Achari Okam, and she's a journalist just like myself, and we'll be having this conversation this morning. You're welcome to New Day, Achari.
Thank you so much. um, well, yeah, the journalist part. We did went to school, but just keep it aside. I'd rather be identified as a content developer and a model in business.
Interesting. But let's even start this conversation. Tell us what even led you to go into modeling.
So basically, what led me go into modeling is first off, I had this. I used to think because I saw myself in the past like I'm so chubby. I used to think that way, and when people would look at me and be like, "You look like a model," and I'll be like, "Have you seen a fat model before?" So what really led me into it was the fact that when I got myself involved with models some 3 4 years ago, I I had I had an I had in my head that okay, maybe this is where I was meant to be to change the narrative because growing up the way I walk apparently is what people learn these days for them to be like professional models. And it was something that came with me. Like it was my default setting. Catwalking, basically. They even had a name for it. I had no idea. So I struggle with that given where I came from. I struggle with that mode of working because it's like everybody's attention is on me when I'm working as a kid. Um, I remember when once upon a time, I shouldn't say this on air, but um, my mom thought you walk like an old hat, and I'm like, what? Where did that come from? But those are the kind of things, and then getting, oh, you two do, they do shakara and all of that. I tried to really change the way I walk as a child. And growing up, I kept hearing, are you a model? Are you go contesting for? And then I had to like later on, like that 3 4 years to be like, you know what? Let's look at it. What is it even? And then I got to realize that modeling was seen as, first of all, high class prostitution, and it wasn't something that I wanted to be associated with because um, once I introduced myself as a model to someone I was having a real conversation with, this human, after really having conversation, great conversation, and I was like, yeah, I'm a model, and he just put his hand right on my lap. It was wow. I'm like, what gave you that audacity to do that? And being in that space, it just I felt okay. There's a need to change people's orientation about models. That was one of the drive. And then when I fully got into it and started interacting with models, and it was like, okay, the people are out there with whatever perception that they have, but also the models are playing a key role into making people see them as what they see them. So my perception also shifted from there to models need to work on themselves in order to change people's perspectives about us. So I started to run first off like seminars and educative sessions for models and creatives with under New Breed Africa, and oof, it was a lot.
It's quite a journey.
It was a journey. It was a journey. I started to do that, had a couple projects, and then life happened and we had to start over. So, and there was no best place to start than with Models in Business Global. And it's not just tailored towards just models or creatives, but Models in Business Global believe that every industry has its model, and those individuals that set standards and inspire others to do better in their field. So we just want to celebrate those excellence and highlight their exemplary.
All right. Before we even start talking about models in business and also women in modeling business in Nigeria, let's talk about that narrative which you've mentioned so far about models being tagged to be high-ranking prostitutes.
yes.
It's a negative narrative.
Absolutely.
And it has almost nearly been there for a long while.
Oh, it's been there, I think, forever.
But then, the process that leads one to become modeling or a model in Nigeria, don't you think again that process also can be one of the factors that has also enhanced this type of orientation? The agencies, the parties involved, don't you think that these are also structures that have been put in place?
Absolutely.
So let's even hear from that perspective.
Absolutely. So you say the industry, just as you rightly pointed out, about how the process plays a very key role in really highlighting those negativity as opposed to seeing the potential that a model carries, right? First off, this region that we are, Nigeria, we're not supposed. No, let me rephrase that. It's not about we. If we look at our tradition and our background, it's not the bikini pants background that we have majorly in Nigeria. And when we have contests or competitions, that one of the major criteria for models to be queens is put on pant and bra and come and show yourself. And as much as many are doing, trying, to infuse the beauty, the brainy aspect of women, but there's so much energy that is put into the physicality that by the time this lady starts to see something that makes sense, nobody listens. Everyone can only see the body. And I believe that is one of those key roles that really taints the image of models. And to be honest, everything, I'm trying to really sound as civic as possible, because there's so much decay in the industry that you meet young people and they'll be like, I used to be a model. It is a very beautiful career. It is a business that is supposed to really show the power of women, show the strength and the beauty of the woman when she stands to communicate with all her might and her confidence intact. Because we grew up, especially from my side, from the north, there's a lot of shush, don't say that happens with women, that we're supposed to be in the background, right? But this career gives women the opportunity to be queens. But I feel like people who are bringing up all of these activities don't really sit down to really look at it. What is the duty of a queen, right? Queen does not go around roaming with aunt and bra for her to be picked. Queen is royalty, right? And as a queen, you are, your words are power. When you speak, everyone stops and listen.
Well, that's quite interesting. Let's take the conversation further and look at the narrative that also surrounds the modeling business, even here in Nigeria. There is this allegation that when people delve into modeling, it is due to the fact that they have been frustrated. So probably they've been relegated to the back door of inconsequential. So the best way for them to prove their worth is to become a model. So large number of models don't go to school. Large number of models don't get trained and they don't get to enter into contracts. They do it out of freelancing, and that's how it stays. The promoters and the managers get all the pain even within the space. But you are in this field. How correct is this narrative?
So I think one of the reason why most models prefer freelancing is due to the tedious contracts, right? That's out there, the agencies. Some of them don't really care. They really don't care about anybody but themselves. So you can imagine, first of all, models, especially when you're just like, you haven't succeeded as a model to like build a name for yourself, you hardly would have a job that is even worth 30K. Hardly. Oh yeah. And things are not funny. So imagine getting that little and agency gets to take either 30 or 40% of whatever it is that you make. And most of them, they don't give you training. They don't give you prior training for you to really stay grounded in what it is that you are learning and in what you said you're doing, right? You don't have that groundedness to really just embody who you are as a model. And the agencies, they don't even follow up on some of these jobs. So most models end up really being in places that doesn't serve them at all. They have horrible experiences and their agencies don't follow up. So all they want is give me my own share. So a lot of attention isn't really given. So if I am to contract with an agency that is going to take that much percentage and that is not even doing the job, right? Because most of them don't even provide those jobs for the models. The models go scouting for themselves to get these jobs. So after you go through all of that, and then you have to now go and give certain percentage to certain agency. So it's like, you know what? Let me just do it myself. I'll just focus on myself. And so we have more of that. And the bad side of freelancing is good if you know what you're doing. You can be able to navigate. But the downside of it is that when you go through these things and you don't have a backing, because most of the people who contract these models, they would have some, most of them would rather like go for it. They would put it that if you're with an agency, they do not want you because they know what they're up to. But for those who would still go ahead and contract those who have an agency, they know that should anything go wrong, there's some sort of backing that comes from having an agency. Only that these agencies don't quite do the needful when it comes to like doing the right work.
So that narrative again on models being people that are going through one challenge or the other, models being people that are relegated to the back door of the society. That is, people that become models or people that eventually want to become models. How correct is that narrative?
Relegated to the back doors, I wouldn't say that is entirely correct, but to be honest, it has some level of truth to it, judging by how I have seen models being treated with so much disrespect, to be honest.
But is that we're looking at it from the point of view of even coming into the modeling field? People that, let's say, a lot of people that come into modeling field, that is, I want to be a model. It must have been that you must have failed in a lot of things, and you've been relegated the back door, and then the only saving grace is modeling.
Not particularly.
Okay.
That is not.
Do we have
that
graduates
is-
that can just wake
Oh
up
my
one morning and
goodness,
say, I want to be a model?
We have interesting people in the modeling industry. We have graduates. We have people doing their masters. I think. Excuse me. I think we have virtually every field in there, right? Most people do it because they love it, and I love the fact that models are taking the initiative to not focus on, oh, this this career being the only source of income for them, because then it becomes harder, and then you don't get to choose the kind of work jobs that you do, because everything they throw at you, and you are in a space where, oh my god, I need this urgent 2k, and you just go running after every 5k offer or 10k offer. Now models are taking the initiative to start up their own businesses and continue doing the modeling from a place of love and passion. So I wouldn't say that models are those. No, they're very intelligent. They're very, very intelligent. Models are intelligent.
That's interesting to know. Again, when girls get into modeling, it's easy, but coming out of it from agencies seems like a very difficult task. I want to ask her this question because I'm curious. Do they take an oath to belong to the agencies? Do they have some form of I don't know what goes on, but it's as if most times when girls come out of agencies, they'd rather quit modeling and go into something else, and they rather would not want to disclose what even transpired between them and that particular agency. Do they do some form of, let's just hear from you, why is this narrative? It's almost the same thing in everywhere.
Precisely what I
all right.
wanted to point it out. The thing is, as with, I would say, most of the agencies in the entertainment industry, there's always something wrong with the contracts, and sometimes, or most times, what happens is that people don't settle down to go through these contracts because there is some level of pressure from, oh, I need to do something worthwhile with my life, oh, this is a contract. And usually when people are coming with contract, they have these juicy offers, but there are also things underneath, clauses that if you don't have an expert to translate that to you, you would end up selling yourself.
Achari, are you sure this is within the contractual space and there is nothing like an oath, or there's nothing diabolical about? Because when they come out, they don't talk of what experience they've had, and some of them just disappear into thin air without even mentioning what transpired. All of a sudden, you see a thriving model.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, coming out of an agency, and she just goes mute.
You
All
know,
of a sudden,
there's something about trauma that when people go through trauma, most people just don't want to. They just blank out. I don't want to process. I don't want to go through the thought of processing what it is that I have gone through. So I wouldn't say that I have experienced what these women have experienced, but there's a recently, I'm grateful that people are coming out. Models are coming out to share their experiences. And you know, when it comes to the major challenge is sexual, usually. We're grateful things are changing, things are becoming better. But over the years, women have been so sexualized that we still go through it, but like I said, things are becoming better. And we also have been pushed to the side where everything is our fault. So coming out to say, oh, I came to have a meeting with, I'm sorry, Godwin, and he
No,
harassed.
no, no, don't use Godwin.
I'm sorry, because I'm here.
Okay.
And so I can't, it's almost impossible for one to say, okay, I came to have an interview and this person harassed me. First thing they would ask usually is, what took you there? Oh, what are you wearing? Oh, so people just forget that this person is actually a victim, right? So, and for not everybody has that heart to go through the online. It's very, very chaotic out there. People are vile. When people are going through things, the way people see it is I can't, I stay away from these zones because it's not good for the mental space, especially for someone who just went through a traumatic experience such as sexual harassment. And that is something that the women have been going through in this particular industry. And it wasn't, it's not a nice topic to actually talk about.
Let me take away from that topic, Chari, at this point. I was going through the woman, the first Miss Nigeria. I can't recall her name right now. I was going through Adarako. Yeah, I was going through an interview. And one thing I realized is this form of there's no consistency when it has to do with lined up programs for models upon retirement or when they leave the modeling stage. I don't know now if there are programs for modeling to help them give them a reorientation, inject them back into the society, or better financial plan for them, like some form of retirement plan, HMOs and all of the, after they leave modeling. Is there something like that right now?
So I would say this is something that the Models in Business Global is taking the initiative to work out for the models and creatives, arranging, like setting up policies that take care of that. Because one thing that the modeling industry has consistently been doing is we just have ladies come contest for this, you win, you go for the next, you go for the next until you're above the age for you to contest anything, and not necessarily holding any significant space in the world. That with all of this fame and the power that you will, because that is so much power, being able to stand on a global stage to, you know, address people, and so that utilizing that power for something that transcends the modeling industry is something that the models themselves need to take initiative for, because you are given a space. It is up to you to utilize that space. So if you don't do it, nobody will. It's as good as you come, okay, this is what we want you to do, and you just, and what they do mostly is yes sir kind of operation for the models. Okay, this is what we want you to do, and they just do it and they get down, and that is it. Nobody hears nothing about it. So I think that initiative is solely on the models to take advantage of the space and the stage that they've been given. But also the Models in Business Global is also working to ensure that when, even if it's providing some sort of capital for the models to, you know, push standing on their own, not totally relying on fashion shows and all of that, because they don't always yield like tangible financial in support for the models. So that's basically what we're working to do.
Achari, there is this conversation that we are all turning a blind eye on, and that conversation is on the fact that it's tied to the fact that most agencies, modeling agencies, to a large extent, arrange their models to certain politicians. To it's alleged, by the way, so I might be wrong. Said most modeling agencies arrange the girls as souvenirs most times for politicians, for businessmen, for private individuals, and what have you. Now, it is an allegation, but you've been there. How correct is this whole conversation?
You did your homework. You did your homework. Um, I would. It is true. It
Okay.
is, yeah, it is true. Some, but because we have a some, does not mean isn't every, like every agency does that. I had um, I had an experience with a certain agency in the past, and they sent for call. I had the the criteria they needed. So, and by the time I by the time I got to the I got through to them, and I gave them every information that they wanted. The next thing I got was to send my book video, and I'm like, why are we talking about my books here? And he goes, that is a very important criteria, because what they do is this thing you just explained on the ground. In fact, this is even more recent, the one I'm about to share. I'm supposed to collaborate with this very renowned um, model who served outside of the country and came back to, just build her academy here in Nigeria. We're supposed to work together because I'm more in the development of ideas and how to put them out there and all of those background work. And she would focus on the training because, well, so luckily for me, she randomly blurted it out to me that at the underneath, this is what we're going to do. It didn't sit well with me, cause it's just like, this is what every agency does. I don't know about every agency, but I know of very few good ones that don't sell their models out like that. But that does not rule the fact that these things don't happen, given that I had a first-hand experience of that. And I could not further with her because I know why I got in the business to begin with. The intention is to change the narrative. Then if I am the one who is providing the platform that's sort of like fosters or empower a narrative like that, then I failed myself. So I think that was the end of our conversation regarding collaborating. We never spoke again. I couldn't even talk to her about it. I just zoned out. Like, so, but it happens.
Actually, there are a lot of things that we need to talk about. The time is fast spent, and let's call this part one of the conversation.
It's okay.
Because we have to bring you back again for other part of the conversation. I want to say thank you so much for being a part of the show today.
Thank you.
Well, this is how far we can run this morning. I want to say thank you so much for also being with us till this time. I am Godwin Sunday. Stay tuned for more updates on Signature Television. From all of us here in the studio, it's bye for now.